We were not even fighting this morning. All I did was say sorry.
Did something happen to you?
Johnny Depp and Amber Heard's defamation trial seems to be all anyone can talk about these days as the court case forges on. It is nothing short of a media circus as the trial is being live streamed on the internet for all the world to see and consume. Johnny Depp is suing Amber Heard for defamation for $50 million. He had previously sued The Sun, an English-based newspaper, for defamation after they labeled him as someone who physically harms others. He lost that case, and this new one, for all intents and purposes, seems like the turning of the tides, with the key difference being key witnesses are finally allowed to speak during this trial, where previously they were barred. Wherever you stand on the matter, I will do my best to give an extremely unbiased account of the trial to best aid you in coming to your own conclusions about this undoubtable mess. Johnny Depp was born in Kentucky, but would move around frequently with his family before settling in Florida. His parents got divorced when he was 15. When his mother remarried, Depp would later consider his new stepdad to be an inspiration for his acting work. Johnny didn't start out in acting, however. In fact, he dropped out of high school with the idea of becoming a rock star. Although he tried to go back to high school 2 weeks later, his principal encouraged him to follow his dream of being a musician and to only come back if he thoroughly wanted to, not because he felt he had to. Different times, I guess. Anyways, Johnny began playing in a band that received moderate success in Florida, so they moved to LA to try and get a record deal. Sadly, the band would split up before they ever got said record deal. Johnny Depp got into acting kind of on accident. He was already in LA because of his defunct band, and he met actor Nicolas Cage through his then-wife, Lori Ann Allison. Cage encouraged him to pursue an acting career and got him into touch with his agent. Johnny Depp viewed acting as a way to pay the bills while he pursued music, which is hilarious. It's like saying you're a theater major to pay the bills while you pursue a passion in accounting. Then, as he kept getting roles, he found himself suddenly with the title of actor, especially when he was cast in the series 21 Jump Street at 22 years old. Johnny Depp's ethnicity comes into question a lot because of his darker features. But the only non-white ancestry he has dates back to a colonial freedom fighter in the 1600s, so that definitely wouldn't contribute to his complexion. In fact, he's primarily French and American. Although he said that he may have some Native American in his bloodline, that was proven to be untrue and led plenty of people to criticize his choice to portray Tonto, a Native character in the movie The Lone Ranger. An ad featuring Johnny Depp and Native American imagery that promoted a fragrance by Dior, literally named Sauvage, aka Savage, was obviously pulled in 2019 for cultural appropriation and racism. Now, we all know what has happened since then. He went on to do bigger and bigger roles, more particularly with Tim Burton, as part of his repeating troupe of actors that include Helena Bonham Carter. He also went on to star in the Disney series Pirates of the Caribbean, for which I'd argue is his most known role as Captain Jack Sparrow. Famously, studio executives disapproved of the messiness of Jack Sparrow and wanted him to be a more PG pirate, but fan bases responded so positively to the character, they were forced to let Depp's portrayal become a mainstay. By 2012, he was listed by Guinness Book of World Records as the highest paid actor in the world, earning $75 million US. Now, let's get into his personal life. He has 2 kids with his ex-wife Vanessa Paradis, a French actor. Although they sadly divorced in 2012, they remained close and co-parent their children. When asked about having children in an interview, Depp stated that having a family gave him a, quote, real foundation, a real strong place to stand in life, in work, and everything. You cannot plan the kind of deep love that results from children. Fatherhood was not a conscious decision. It was part of the wonderful ride I was on. It was destiny. All the math finally worked. Depp also has a well-documented struggle with substances. Apparently, it started when he took his mother's nerve pills at 11 years old. By age 14, he was doing pretty much anything he could get his hands on. Although he had a few years where he was sober, during his time with Amber Heard, Depp would later admit to being fully hooked on a cocktail of substances. Now, let's get into what you're here for, the trial. Amber Heard and Johnny Depp met in 2011 on the set of a film after Depp divorced his wife. Their relationship was extremely volatile, yet despite this, they would marry in a civil union in 2015. Then, in 2016, Amber filed for divorce and got a temporary restraining order against Johnny Depp. She claimed that when he was intoxicated, Johnny harmed her verbally and physically. Johnny denied these claims and said that she was only after money from the settlement. The divorce was finalized in 2017 after Johnny Depp agreed to settle for $7 million, of which Amber claimed that she would donate to the LA Children's Hospital and the American Civil Liberties Union, which is like a non-profit human rights organization. Now we get into the lawsuits. In 2018, a year after the divorce divorce was settled, Johnny Depp took a newspaper in the UK called The Sun to court for labeling the actor as someone who harms his wife. The case was highly publicized, with both Johnny Depp and Amber Heard testifying. Then, in 2020, the High Court of Justice ruled that 12 of the 14 incidences of harm claimed by Amber were, quote, substantially true. The court then rejected Depp's claim of a hoax and accepted that Heard had her career and activism damaged because of Johnny. Following the verdict of this trial, the actor resigned from the Fantastic Beasts franchise because he was asked to do so by Warner Bros. Although Johnny sought to appeal the verdict made against him in 2021, he was rejected, with the court stating that they found no reason to believe that the case wasn't done properly. His lawyers even accused Amber of not donating the money she promised to the charities, but she said that she had not been able to do so because of the lawsuits against her by Depp. In addition to suing The Sun, Depp also decided to sue Amber herself for defamation in 2019 over her op-ed about being a survivor of harm. Although she didn't name him in the article, it was pretty clear who it's about. He claimed that he had lost out on jobs and roles because of the op-ed, which he deemed to be untrue and false. Amber countersued, saying that Johnny ran a smear campaign against her on Twitter. When the Sun lawsuit ruled in Amber's favor, she applied to have this lawsuit against her dismissed, but the court rejected it because the suit was against the Sun and not Amber, so they were different. Now, the main difference between this case that's currently ongoing is that key witnesses are allowed to testify for and against Amber, whereas the previous trial was focused on the Sun and making sure they upheld journalistic integrity. With this case being directly against Amber herself, much more evidence is allowed to be unveiled. Like, for example, texts between Johnny Depp and a friend about wanting to burn and aggressively harm Amber's body. Similarly, phone call recordings of Amber admitting to hitting Johnny were played in the courtroom, and Johnny claims that Amber left human feces in his bed. Some audio clips show Depp loudly shouting vulgarities at Amber, calling her degrading names. He winced on the stand as the clips played, with Amber looking to be fighting back tears. The toxicity of their relationship was apparent and indisputable, with each person seeming to have done harm to one another. It is also now being alleged that Amber had cut a portion of Johnny's finger off after she threw a bottle at him, although she alleges that he cut it off himself during a bout of substance use. While the lawsuit is technically supposed to center on whether Depp was defamed because of Amber's op-ed article, most of the trial has focused on the ugly details of the couple's marriage. Additionally, because it's being broadcast live online, the media circus surrounding the case has been insurmountable. It also can't help that key witnesses include celebrities like James Franco and Elon Musk, who are both set to testify. It seems that this case has become less about libel and defamation and is viewed more and more as some sort of twisted television show for audiences to enjoy and laugh at. The amount of TikTok videos I've personally seen where Johnny Depp epically owns Amber Heard while pumped up music plays in the background is a little disgusting. No matter whose side you happen to take on the matter, I wish more people would focus on the fact that this is people's real lives and real traumas. Please try to be more empathetic to how hard this is for all those involved.
Did you have a good look at her face during that conversation?
Yes.
Amber Heard's name seems much more synonymous with the case she's been embroiled in with her ex Johnny Depp than she does with the movie she's in. As I write this script, the live stream of the trial between Amber and Johnny is currently underway. Text messages were revealed between the former lovers that show just how toxic and violent the relationship got, with cops being called and extremely harsh words being spoken between one another. Celebrities have also been called to testify, including actors like Jason Momoa and people like Elon Musk. Just a warning, I am going to remain relatively impartial during this whole thing to show just facts rather than diluting it with my own opinion on the whole thing. So let's catch up with just how the trial is going between Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. Amber Heard was born in Austin, Texas, to a very outdoorsy family that would routinely horseback ride, fish, and hunt. Amber herself was very involved in the scene and raised stoutly Catholic throughout her childhood. However, when she was a teenager, Heard began identifying as an atheist after her best friend passed tragically in a car crash. A year after the tragedy that left Amber in shambles, she stated that she, quote, no longer felt comfortable in conservative, God-fearing Texas, and decided to move to Los Angeles to pursue acting while earning her high school diploma through a home study course. In her mid-teens, living in LA by herself, Amber began her work in acting straight away. She started appearing in small television and music video roles in the early 2000s. A few years into her career, she began receiving leading roles in C-list slasher movies and teen dramas. Her first big break came about in 2008, when she obtained a role in the cult classic comedy Pineapple Express. She went on to star in much higher profile films alongside actors like Nicolas Cage and Demi Moore. In 2017, Heard landed a role in the movie Justice League as Aquaman's love interest. And up until now, she was set to appear in the next installment of the film, set to be released near the end of 2022, but more on that later. Amber Heard was embroiled in 2014 in a mass celebrity lewd photo leak where several celebrities had their private photos distributed without their consent. Being a victim of having private images leaked has led Amber to write an op-ed about feeling taken advantage of during the digital age and how easy it is for predators to access your information. Now, let's get into the controversy that has Amber almost completely consumed. Back in 2011, she first met Johnny Depp on the set of a movie. The pair began dating near the end of 2011, beginning of 2012. This came on the coattails of Depp's separation from his partner of 14 years. Before we fully get into their relationship, it is worth noting that Amber had been arrested back in 2009 for harming her then-girlfriend in Washington, wherein it was alleged that she aggressively grabbed and hit her girlfriend. All the charges were dropped, however, with the alleged victim herself stating that it was blown way out of proportion. Anyways, back to the Depp-Heard romance. The pair got engaged in 2014 and ended up getting married a year later. Their relationship would only last until mid-2016, however, when Heard officially files for divorce from Johnny and accuses him of physically harming her. She claimed that he hurt her when he was under the influence of substances. My language here has to be careful because of YouTube, just so you know. She further says that he threw his phone at her and left her with a bruised face. However, the cops released a report stating that when they showed up to the couple's home on the call of harm, they found that no crime had actually taken place. Johnny Depp, meanwhile, vehemently denied these accusations and accused Amber of, quote, attempting to secure a premature financial resolution by alleging harm. Initially, when the case was just beginning, a $7 million settlement was agreed upon outside of court, where Depp paid Heard the money and they both released a joint statement stating that, quote, our relationship was intensely passionate and at times volatile, but always bound by love. Neither party has made false accusations for financial gain. So it seems like they both freely admitted that Johnny Depp hurt Amber Heard, and Hollywood would react accordingly. In the midst of holding high-profile individuals accountable for their actions, Depp was basically blacklisted from work for quite some time. He was dropped from movies, and no one was going to hire him. In 2018, a year after their divorce was finalized, Amber wrote a Washington Post op-ed about the treatment of women in domestic harm cases. Despite never naming Johnny himself, it's pretty clear who the article was aimed towards. Due to this article, Depp sued Heard for $50 million, accusing her of defamation of character, and basically lying in her piece. In the lawsuit, Depp accuses Heard of lying about being hurt by Johnny, and instead he claims that she hurt him. In a court filing that attempted to cancel the charges, Heard details multiple instances of harm and even refers to Johnny Depp as a monster. The pair continue to throw accusations at one another, with Depp claiming that the actress cheated on him with James Franco and Elon Musk, and Heard claimed she still has scars on her arms from when her ex allegedly dragged her through broken glass. All this seems pretty confusing, and a lot of he said, she said. That was until in 2020 when phone recordings were released in which Heard admits to hitting Johnny Depp. In the recordings, she says, quote, I'm sorry that I hit you across the face in a proper slap, but I wasn't hitting you. It was not punching you. Babe, you're not punched. The conversation then continues, with Depp claiming he left because he didn't want their fight to get uglier, and Heard replying, quote, I can't promise you I won't get physical again. God, sometimes I get so mad I lose it. This is the most solid, damning evidence to date that the public has been made aware of that would officially prove that Amber was the one committing harm rather than the other way around. During the lawsuits, two of Johnny Depp's former relationships, including the 14-year one he had prior to Amber, both claimed that Johnny had never hurt them nor made any indication of him hurting anyone. One ex-partner stated, quote, the idea that he is an incredibly violent person is the furthest thing from the Johnny I know and loved. I cannot wrap my head around these accusations. As of right now, Johnny Depp has been denied 2 separate times an appeal of the court's ruling that he had harmed Amber, despite all the evidence against her. His defense lawyer has this to say about the ruling, quote, most troubling is the judge's reliance on the testimony of Amber Heard and corresponding disregard of the mountain of counter-evidence from police officers, medical practitioners, her own former assistant, other unchallenged witnesses, and an array of documentary evidence which completely undermines the allegations point by point. Despite the legal ruling that completely sides with Amber Heard, which resulted in Johnny Depp being asked to step down from his role in the Harry Potter spin-off Fantastic Beasts, the public has very clearly sided with Depp. The legal fight definitely is not over though. As it stands now, Johnny is suing Amber for defamation, claiming that her allegations against him are false and constitute mischaracterization. The results of this trial could finally turn the case in Depp's favor. While the public is very clearly sided with him, so far the court has been completely obstinate. What we know right now of the cases that are currently in progress is that more and more texts are being revealed in court with just how violent things got. They're recounting testimonies, and Johnny is claiming that Amber's false accusation led him to lose movie roles and made it difficult for him to supplement his income. It seems like based on the evidence, both parties have been extremely harmful to one another. They both instigated fights and egged each other on, where harm became common and expected. At the end of the day, it seems like a genuinely toxic space, but very obviously, Amber has been let off with a much easier sentence. She retains movie roles. Well, until now. Following the verdict that denies Depp's defamation lawsuit, a Change.org petition was started that demanded Heard be fired from her newest movie, Aquaman 2. The petition reached 2 million people who signed it, and in January, it was confirmed by the director of the film that she had indeed been released from filming and would not appear in the latest installment. Only time will tell just how messy this will continue to be. And as it stands with the trial in progress, I wish I had more information than I do, but it's just not available.
Just in my head instantly think of Kate Moss and the stairs, and I swung at him.
Kate Moss was one of the most recognizable supermodels in the mid-90s to mid-2000s. She championed the wayfish, ultra-thin modeling trends that we still see reflections of to this day. She and Johnny Depp dated for a few years back in the 90s, and it was an infamously messy relationship that ended sourly. In interviews after the breakup, Kate claimed that she missed Depp because he was the proper influence that she needed at the time. Despite what seemed like an amicable breakup, Amber Heard has raised Kate's name in the latest drama over her and Johnny's highly publicized defamation trial. She claims that he was harmful towards the model, but is it true or just another lie Amber seems increasingly at ease with spouting? Kate Moss was born in London, England to a bartending mother and an airline employee father. She has a younger brother and a half-sister. Kate began her modeling career very early into her teens when she was recruited in 1988 at the age of 14. A modeling scout came up to her in an airport in New York while she was on her way home from vacation in the Bahamas with her family. By 16 years old, she had shot for a few magazines who described her style as dirty realism or grunge. She then was featured in her first major label's campaign, for Levi's. It propelled Kate into becoming what was labeled as the quote anti-supermodel of the 1990s, which starkly contrasted to the models of the moment, such as Cindy Crawford and Naomi Campbell, who were known for being extremely tall with noticeable hips. Moss was the poster child for the wayfish, ultra-thin, with very little curves look that was popularized in the mid-1990s. It led to a lot of scrutiny over her weight, which people deemed to be excessively thin, basically impossible to obtain if your genetics don't gear that way. But for Moss, she stated, quote, "It was just the time. It was a swing from the more buxom girls like Cindy Crawford, and people were shocked to see what they called a waif. How many times can I say I'm not anorexic?" To that point, however, Kate was heavily criticized when she interviewed for Women's Wear Daily in 2009 and was quoted saying the phrase "nothing tastes as good as skinny feels," which she described as her motto to keep her strong in food intake control. She was accused of encouraging eating disorders, which were already running extremely rampant due to the fashion at the time, which pretty much solely catered to extremely stick-thin women. That being said, Kate's popularity was undoubtable. She was named the sexiest woman of the decade numerous times by different magazines. She has gold statues dedicated to her, and she has multiple high-profile artists' muse. There are tons of songs dedicated to her, about her, or that mention her. As far as her relationship with Johnny Depp goes, however, they began dating in 1994 when they met at a bar in New York and were introduced to each other by a journalist. When they first met, Johnny was 31 and Kate was 20. He had just split from Winona Ryder. Kate and Johnny would become the it couple of the 90s, jetting around the world together and always being spotted at events. They absolutely were not camera shy and loved public displays of affection. In 1994, a friend of the actor told People magazine, quote, "They can't keep their hands, lips, mouths, and legs off of each other." However, it wasn't all smooth sailing for the couple. They were spotted a few times having extremely heated arguments with one another out in public, and then Depp was arrested after he and Moss trashed a hotel in New York. He had to pay out thousands of dollars in damages that he owed to the hotel. Now, in 2022, after Amber and Johnny's explosive relationship ended in divorce, and Johnny first sued the Sun in England for defamation, Amber dragged Kate Moss into the fight. In the 2020 UK libel trial, Amber claimed that Johnny Depp had pushed Kate Moss down a flight of stairs after a fight in the 1990s. This claim kind of came out of nowhere and wasn't fully pursued by the court at the time, as it didn't have much to do with the Sun and their role in the libel. But in 2022, now that Johnny Depp is suing Amber Heard directly for defamation of character that led to his loss of a leading man status in Hollywood and thus a loss of revenue, Amber has been made to recount the more brutal and instrumental fights in their relationship. This also means rehashing past accusations she made against her ex. Amber recounted a moment when she and Johnny had a particularly nasty fight in front of her sister. Amber said that she threw a can of Red Bull at Johnny, which struck him in the back, adding that she called him some vulgar words. She said that he then became enraged and followed her up a staircase. Amber said he grabbed her, at which point her sister Whitney intervened. Quote, "She threw herself in the line of fire. She was trying to get Johnny to stop. Her back was to the staircase and Johnny swung at her. I didn't hesitate and wait. I instantly thought of Kate Moss and stairs." She said that the thought of Kate Moss led her to action. Quote, "I, for the first time, hit him square in the face, and he didn't push my sister down the stairs. Up to that point in our relationship, I hadn't even landed one on Johnny. Johnny looked stunned and then laughed at me, and then lunges at me again." Then she recalls that security staff stepped in between them and separated them, diffusing the situation. Now, going back temporarily to the 2020 Sun trial, Amber stated, quote, "He pushed Kate Moss down the stairs. I heard this from two people and this was fresh in my mind. I reacted in defense of my sister. I had for years been Johnny's punching bag, but for years I never hit him. It was the first time after all these years that I struck him back." Although a representative for Kate Moss has yet to speak out on being named by Amber as a source of past harm from Johnny, I absolutely would not be surprised if that means that Kate may be called to testify her story in front of the court. Yet, as is the same with Elon Musk and James Franco, she doesn't actually have to come and testify. In Virginia, if the case isn't directly related to you, you cannot be forced to testify and can reject the request. But if we go back to that volatile night at the hotel, police stated that they found Johnny, quote, "in a state of possible intoxication and Moss uninjured." A criminal court judge dismissed the charge of criminal mischief against Depp on the condition that he stay out of trouble for 6 months. He then paid the hotel $10,000, including more than $2,000, plus the bill of the remainder of his reservation. In a 2012 interview with Vanity Fair about her past relationships, Kate said that she cried for years after their relationship ended. Quote, "There's nobody that ever really has been able to take care of me. Johnny did for a bit. I believe what he said. Like if I said, 'What do I do?' he'd tell me. And that's what I missed when I left. I really lost the gauge of somebody I could trust." Interestingly, when Amber Heard mentioned Kate Moss by name, Johnny Depp's lawyers seemed to celebrate in court. The reason why his lawyers seem so elated will become clear when his team is finally allowed to cross-examine Amber Heard next week, but it is likely that they probably have evidence to refute this claim and label it as bogus. Quote, "When a lawyer gets excited about something you said and they have yet to cross-examine you, you should be scared," is what one commentator said on the live feed. Interestingly, because Kate has only ever spoken highly about Johnny Depp since their relationship ended, Amber stating that he would have hurt her means that she opened the door so that they can present evidence to show that Johnny never hurt Kate. If she made the claim about Vanessa Paradis, Johnny's ex-wife of 11 years, then they would have even more fuel to the fire. Basically, by voicing things that are just rumors, now the claims can be proven or disproven by the court. I guess we'll see in the time to come just how deep Kate's role in the trial will be.
You know, in America, you ask if somebody's feeling good and they never tell you the truth.
No.
You just said just about good.
Yeah, pretty much.
No one ever just says I'm.
Paul Bettany used to be most known for his role in the Marvel movie franchise as the voice of Jarvis and portraying the character of Vision. But these days, he's in the news for a very different reason. As the media continues to froth at the mouth over the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp defamation trial, Paul has been dragged in for his role in supporting Johnny while he was in the relationship. Both Paul and Johnny made alarmingly aggressive text exchanges about Amber and her body. And so now, as the trial forges on, we see just how toxic toxic Paul's role to play in the doomed relationship is. Paul Bettany was born into theater with both of his parents stage actors and a manager. Tragically, when Paul was 16 years old, his 8-year-old brother would pass from an accidental fall. The death was so impactful on Paul that he dropped out of high school and left home, traveling to London to be a street performer. He lived in a small flat and earned money by playing guitar in the streets as a busker. After spending some time working for an elderly home, he decided to enroll in the Drama Centre of London. Paul became instantly known for his talent, appearing in plays like Romeo and Juliet, Richard III, and a BBC production of Oliver Twist, all by 21 years old. He then slowly started to drip into film and television, working small parts in film while still maintaining his presence in theater. Then, a Hollywood director saw Paul's audition tape and was so impressed with it that he wrote a character into the movie A Knight's Tale as Chaucer. From then on, the director was so impressed that he showed his friends the audition tape, including Ron Howard, who promptly cast Bettany in A Beautiful Mind alongside Russell Crowe. From then on, he would go on to be in the Wimbledon movie and a few other notable films. He also married Jennifer Connelly and appeared alongside Johnny Depp in the movie The Tourist. Most notably, he played Jarvis and Vision in Iron Man and later on in the Avengers movies. Jumping back though to The Tourist, Paul became very close with his co-star Johnny Depp, and they considered each other to be best friends. Now, fast forward to now, Paul Bettany was involved in the defamation trial of Johnny Depp versus The Sun, but he is much more directly involved in the current trial going on with Johnny Depp against Amber Heard. Due to his closeness to Johnny, it's only natural that he would be front and center to some of the uglier instances of the ex-couple's extremely toxic relationship. Due to the court proceedings being broadcast live for the whole world to see, we can get extremely up-to-date information on the trial itself. We learn that Johnny Depp claims that Amber Heard absolutely loathed Paul Bettany. Apparently, she felt threatened by the large amount of time that Paul and Johnny spent together. Quote, Miss Heard despised Mr. Bettany, mainly because we had become such close friends, and for her, he was a threat and would take me away from her. With regard to if Paul Bettany was getting the attention from me, that was a showstopper. It would cause all kinds of unpleasantries. He even recalled one instance with Paul, his wife Jennifer Connelly, and their kids. Depp says that Heard and Bettany got into a debate over lunch and, quote, whenever Mr. Bettany tried to make a point, she would talk over him, and then it just started to get quite rude. She got mean and she got loud. He also recalled that during this debate, Paul's 18-year-old son entered the conversation to speak on something that he had learned while in school. Quote, he voiced his opinion and Miss Heard demeaned the young man to the point of where he burst into tears and walked away. Johnny also said that he told Amber that her behavior was unacceptable and that she had no right. Quote, you cannot always be right. You should try to be wrong sometime because you might learn something. These comments came after private text messages between Johnny Depp and Paul Bettany were read aloud to the court and audio recordings were heard wherein Depp called Heard fat and plenty of other obscenities I can't say. Paul's name was initially brought up when Johnny claimed that they often would do recreational substances together at times. Their texts also became evidence, including one in which they joked about drowning and burning Amber. Although, as a rebuttal, Johnny did say that it was a Monty Python reference that should not be taken literally. That being said, Paul did state that he felt extremely embarrassed to have his texts read aloud to the court during the Sun defamation trial. He also made a slightly contradictory statement to what we know to be true when he stated that he didn't know Johnny when he was married to Amber. Quote, I knew him before, but we hadn't spoken for years. During the marriage, I didn't know them, so I wasn't around for any of that. We live in a world without context. Despite this statement, it has also been said on multiple records that they consider each other best friends. And also, why would you talk about a woman you don't know like he did during the text? And also, what about the incident at the dinner with Paul's son? That statement honestly doesn't make much sense to me, but I couldn't find any information on whether or not he had been called out for it. Now, for her part, Amber has yet to testify, but will do so soon. Johnny said his piece, but will definitely be called to the stand a bunch more while the trial is still ongoing. On Tuesday, we heard from officers who responded to a domestic disturbance call to the couple's penthouse in 2016. They said that they found no evidence of a crime and that Amber was uncooperative and refused to sign or file a police report. The court also heard from the manager of Depp's Bahamas Island and a forensic psychologist who assessed his ex-wife. The manager recounted an incident in which she separated the couple during an argument in which Amber allegedly threw a can at Johnny. Dr. Shannon Curry, a psychologist, testified that she had diagnosed Amber with both borderline and histrionic personality disorders after an extensive evaluation, and manifestations of these can include desperate attempts to avoid being abandoned, including reporting to legal methods such as claiming harm from her partner. That being said, it also emerged that Dr. Curry is not board certified, so it is likely that the diagnosis will prove void. We'll probably see Paul Bettany himself testify alongside other famous individuals like Elon Musk and James Franco, who both have been accused of sleeping with Amber while she was in a relationship with Depp. If it is proved that she did cheat on him, likely the trial could start to sway in Johnny's favor. As it stands, despite the court seemingly always being in favor of Amber, the public is very heavily on the side of Johnny. A lot of people accuse Amber of being a sociopath and an evil person. I can't really pass judgment, and I refuse to do so until the trial is over, but it really does seem like this may be the final battle between the couple. Although this is a defamation case and not a physical harm case, every point is seeming to be heard, so I can't imagine anything being upheld in court beyond this case. Once this one is done, it is almost certain that the whole debacle will finally be over, whether it sways in Depp's favor or Amber Heard's. With so much contradictory evidence to go through, it seems like this trial is far from over though, and as Paul is set to eventually take the stand, only time will tell what he further reveals about the time he spent with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard.
Room for improvement.
Well, Elon Musk has been in the news lately for more ways than one. While we've already done a video on this man, it's definitely worth revisiting just to see the insanity that he's gotten up to lately. On top of being involved in the Amber Heard Johnny Depp defamation case that's currently blowing up in the media sphere, he also very recently bought Twitter and plans to privatize it. He bought the social media platform outright with cash for $44 billion. His main goal? To make the app more closely adhere to free speech with less censorship. Elon Musk was born in South Africa to an extremely wealthy family. Elon's brother is quoted as saying that they had so much money they couldn't shut the safe properly. After his parents divorced when Elon was a child, he decided to stay with his father in South Africa, a choice that he would regret as he is completely estranged from the man currently whom he describes as, quote, a terrible human being. Elon had an interest in computing and design since he was a child. He moved to Canada because he knew it would be easier to enter the US from there than from South Africa. Using his Canadian-born mother as an entryway, Musk obtained full citizenship and lived with his cousin in Saskatchewan, working odd jobs in a lumber mill. Musk then enrolled at Queen's University in Ontario before transferring to University of Pennsylvania 2 years into his degree. After he graduated, Musk and a few friends founded their first company, Zip2. Before the company was successful, Musk couldn't afford an apartment and instead decided to rent an office and sleep on the couch, showering at the local YMCA. The eventual sale of the company made Musk an overnight millionaire when he received $22 million for his only 7% share. In 1999, Musk founded X.com, which merged with PayPal. The company, now just called PayPal, became so successful that it was sold to eBay in 2002 for $1.5 billion in stock, with Elon receiving $100 million from the deal. In 2001, Musk became interested in space travel and space farming. When he found out how expensive intercontinental ballistic missiles were, which would be used to send plants to space, Elon decided to make his own company, now called SpaceX, that would create affordable rockets. To this day, Musk is the company's CEO and chief engineer. The entrepreneur also pivoted to heavily investing in a small company called Tesla that created electric vehicles out of lithium-ion batteries. He became the majority shareholder of the company and resided on the board of directors as chairman. In 2016, the creation of the Boring Company by Musk built underground tunnels through Las Vegas that would work to help alleviate traffic. Outside of his mega successful companies, Elon Musk got into some hot water, with his employees criticizing his managerial style. One person who worked closely with Musk says he exhibits, quote, a high level of degenerative behavior. Business Insider also reported that Tesla employees were warned not to pass Musk's desk for fear of his wild rampages. There are also multiple reports of Musk berating his employees and forcing them to work an insane amount of hours to keep up with the demands that he places on them. Fast forward to 2018, Elon Musk arranges for his employees to build a small rescue pod to assist children that were stuck in a flooded cavern in Thailand. It was during the construction of this rescue pod that Elon would realize the kind of power his tweets would have. The pod was built a little too late, and the Thai authorities didn't even end up using the submarine. A British diver who was instrumental in the effort to save the kids criticized the submarine to CNN, saying, quote, Musk has no context of what the cave passage was like, and he can stick his submarine where it hurts. In response to these words, for some reason, Elon Musk thought it was a good idea to post a tweet referring to the diver as a, quote, guy. Despite deleting the tweet, the diver decided to sue Musk for libel, which basically means saying stuff that isn't true and could damage someone's reputation. Elon then hired a public investigator to find dirt on the diver and sent an explosive email to a BuzzFeed news reporter with the subject line off the record, accusing the reporter of being apologetic towards a man who was accused of having a The reporter screenshotted the email and tweeted it out stating that, quote, "Off the record is a two-party agreement which I do not agree to." Despite the rather dubious journalism ethics being used here, the published email led the diver to take Elon to court, but the jury found in favor of Musk when he was ruled not liable. The entrepreneur's tweets once again got him into trouble when he posted about Tesla possibly becoming a privatized company. The tweet was labeled as untrue and the lawsuit was filed due to the damage it caused investors. The lawsuit was settled, with Musk being barred from the Tesla chairman position 3 years and having to pay $20 million from his personal money and $20 million from the Tesla company. Elon Musk has also accidentally tanked his own company by tweeting that he thought the Tesla stock prices were too high. This triggered a tanking in the shares of Tesla stock, move that got him into a lot of trouble with his own company. As for his personal life, Elon has had quite a few partners over the years. He dated electropop singer Grimes, with whom he shares 2 children. That being said, they broke it off pretty much right after Elon posted some pretty transphobic tweets and Grimes expressed frustration. That being said, officially they broke it off because Elon was too busy and work scheduling took a toll on their relationship. I'm sure it was a mixture of both, honestly. In a lot of people's view though, Elon's initial tweet may have been attacking Grimes specifically for their views on non-gendered lifestyles. This isn't the first time Elon Musk has been outed as being aggressive in relationships. In a Marie Claire article, Elon's first wife, Justine, describes living in an extremely strict marital environment where, quote, "Elon's judgment overruled mine, and he was constantly remarking on the ways he found me lacking." Please honestly go read the article for yourself. It's extremely eloquent and eye-opening. And now, Elon Musk is once again in the news, this time for buying Twitter itself. Given just how much of a history he has with the platform and how it's affected his business, it seems like the billionaire is taking matters into his own hands and outright buying the platform for $44 billion of his own money in the hopes of opening the floodgates and allowing for full free speech. That being said, free speech is very different from hate speech, and I worry that sometimes Musk may not know the difference, instead referring to his own personal opinions to police the site. But because he's got so many companies, I already doubt extremely highly that he will have any hand in the way the website conducts itself. He tweets a lot, so if the world's richest man feels like the website he primarily uses isn't up to snuff, then I guess you really can just buy it for personal use. Pretty crazy. On top of that, Elon was set to defend none other than Amber Heard during her defamation trial with her ex-husband Johnny Depp. Elon and Amber had dated for a while, and Johnny had accused the pair of cheating with each other while she was still in the relationship, and they dated very shortly after Amber and Johnny officially broke it off. That being said, while in the beginning of the trial Musk had been on the list of witnesses that Depp's lawyer created, for some reason, as of the 28th of April, he is no longer set to testify. A source of Musk's legal team later confirmed that he will not testify, although they didn't give any reason as to why he suddenly changed his mind, or if the judge deemed his contribution not worthy of public record. Also, just a side note, I know, my rants, whatever. Elon Musk does not pay any money in personal taxes, yet he decided to buy Twitter. He claimed in a tweet that he doesn't pay personal taxes because all of his money is actually caught up in Tesla stock, so he doesn't have any liquid funds. Yet, he just bought Twitter for $44 billion in cash, so obviously that's not true. Just a heads up that billionaires are not your friends, and if he did pay personal taxes on his massive fortune, that money could have been used to fund repairing roads, opening schools, and aiding the government in funding social programs for underhelped members of society.
When you said switch the bonds, can you tell me what you meant by that?
The friendship went from a purely platonic friendship to a romantic one.
Ellen Barkin is the latest celebrity to take the stand in the explosive Johnny Depp Amber Heard defamation trial that's undoubtedly taken over the internet. Ellen is an old fling of Johnny's from the 90s, and she has less than kind words to say about their time together. Even though they were only briefly intimate for about 5 months, Ellen details instances of aggression and harm at the hands of the Pirates of the Caribbean actor. So today we'll be detailing Ellen's life and her time with Johnny, and more importantly, what this could mean for the outcome of the trials as the verdict date is fast approaching. Let's get into it. Ellen Barkin is a New Yorker who was very interested in theater and drama from a young age, attending university for theater and performing arts. But for her it was a long road. She would study acting for almost 10 years before landing her first audition. Her first role was in a movie called Diner. Since then she also appeared in movies alongside Dennis Quaid and Al Pacino. Throughout her career, Ellen has earned herself a Primetime Emmy Award and a Tony Award for Best Featured Actress. She also worked on the highly successful film in 1998, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, which is the fateful film where she met Johnny Depp, who starred in the movie. Before she met him, however, she had 2 children with her former husband, but they decided to separate from one another in 1993 and officially divorcing in 1999. So while she was still in the process of divorcing her husband, Ellen began to have a fling with Johnny Depp. She was much older than him, but their relationship was nothing serious. It only lasted 5 months and was more of a physical situationship than a real emotionally intimate union. Although it was more of a fling than anything, Ellen and Johnny did show up to red carpet events and the Golden Globes together. They eventually went their separate ways, but because it wasn't a very official thing at the time, not much was reported on why they broke off from one another. Both Johnny and Ellen moved on with their lives, with Ellen getting into a relationship with another man shortly after, and Johnny beginning his relationship with supermodel Kate Moss. Now fast forward to 2020, when Johnny Depp sues UK-based news site for running an article that labels Johnny as a quote, wife beater, when they reported on Amber Heard's op-ed article about her experience with domestic harm. Although she did not name Johnny Depp in her op-ed, it was very clear who the article was about. So he sued the news site, called The Sun, claiming that he never hurt Amber during the entirety of their relationship. During the 2020 libel case, Barkin was asked to testify of her relationship with Johnny Depp. The story she paints of her relationship to Johnny, however brief, was one rife with control, jealousy, and anger. During Ellen's deposition, she claimed that Johnny was, quote, always drinking or smoking. She also claimed that Johnny had thrown a wine bottle at her, though she couldn't recall why he actually threw this bottle. She also recalled another instance where Johnny was extremely controlling towards her, despite them not being in a relationship. She said, quote, I had a scratch on my back once that got him very, very angry because he insisted it came from me having an affair with a person who wasn't him. He would also constantly question her about where she was going and what she was doing and who she was with throughout the entirety of their involvement with one another. She also detailed an instance where she witnessed Johnny throwing a wine bottle again, this time at an employee, saying, quote, Mr. Depp threw a wine bottle across the room in a hotel in Las Vegas. He was mad at his friend or an assistant in the room. So she testified against Johnny and for Amber during the 2020 libel case. He rebutted it by saying she was just jealous because he was the one who ended their relationship when she wanted to pursue something more serious. Depp stated, quote, I didn't feel the same about her as she did me, and I suppose from that moment on she became very, very angry. I do not have an anger management problem. But in the end, both The Sun and Amber won the 2020 libel case struck against them by Depp. Now fast forward to 2022 and the current defamation lawsuit set against Amber Heard directly by Johnny. As we all know by now, it's taking place in Virginia, which is one of the few states where you are able to record and livestream civil court cases. Unlike a criminal court case, civil court cases do not mean the possibility of jail time, but rather just heavy fines. That's why Johnny is suing Amber for $50 million and Amber is countersuing Johnny for $100 million. And now that this new suit is happening, Barkin's name is once again being brought up. She is one of the few relationships that Johnny has where things ended sourly. In fact, outside of Amber and Ellen, all of Johnny's ex-girlfriends have supported him. Winona Ryder even sent a message to the UK courts in Johnny's defense, as she found it hard to believe that he would ever harm anyone. Similarly, Sherilyn Fenn has dedicated a lot of social media presence to clearing Johnny's name, stating that she fully supports him during his ordeal and that justice will seek itself and truth will be revealed. Even Kate Moss has supported Johnny Depp despite a rumor spreading in the 90s that he had pushed her down the stairs after he got angry at her. This rumor is entirely unproven, and Kate has stated on the record that she spent years mourning her relationship with Johnny despite how bad they were for one another. So will Ellen testify? We're not quite sure yet. Basically, the witness list over time for both parties has been refined and edited over time. Individuals like Elon Musk and James Franco were set to testify on behalf of Amber, but it didn't end up happening. So far, Ellen has been on Amber's list of testimonials, and she's been summoned to court, although her time there has not been set yet. She can, based on Virginia law, refuse to show up to court as the case does not directly involve her. But if the 2020 libel case is anything to go by, I doubt that Ellen would pass up the opportunity to share her story once again. This time now while the whole world is watching. We do not have a set date yet for when she will testify, but if she does, it could change the way this entire suit has been carried up until this point. Ellen is Johnny's only other ex-partner who has ill words towards him other than her and Amber. There's no one else to testify against Johnny who knows him as a romantic partner. Every other witness that has testified against Johnny up until this point has only ever had a professional relationship with him, like Amber's makeup artist or his ex-personal assistant and his ex-agent. If Ellen takes the stand in 2022 with her information and convinces the judges of her testimonial, it could sway the court in Amber's favor once again. That being said, many believe that Johnny Depp has already won the trial. He's certainly won public opinion, with most fans who have been watching the trials having wholeheartedly taken Johnny's side. And in this video, I'm doing my best to remain impartial. I'm very interested in seeing who will win this case. Amber Heard is countersuing Johnny for $100 million, double what he's suing her for. If she wins, one of her clauses is that Johnny is disallowed to sue her ever again. But I guess if he wins, he'd really have no reason to. So no matter how this trial ends, it will be the final case that is the ultimate decision. The trial itself is due to end on the 19th of May. Closing remarks are set to occur on the 27th of May. While the final decision and verdict do not have a set date, I'd expect a week or so of deliberation from the judge and the jury before we fully know exactly what's going on.